3-time.
Welcome to the Braddog Media Show with your host, Brady.
Sean Lowery back on the Braddog Media Show for the third time.
Woo!
Welcome, buddy.
Mad Dog, Brad Dog. What's going on? Wait. Is it Brad Dog, Mad Dog, or Mad Dog, Brad Dog?
Mad Dog, Braddog.
Mad Dog, Brad Dog.
You got it.
It's an
That's
honor to be on here for the third time.
Man,
the first time
it's gonna be fun.
The first time was, I feel like we were just little kids, but it was actually probably like a year ago, or it was like a year and a half ago or something.
It was August of 2019, which kind of feels like forever ago now. Think about everything that's changed since then.
The world, it's a different place.
It's a different place.
But also
way
similar.
different. In some ways, it's the same. But yeah, man, so just give a heads up to everybody listening and watching. This is right after Drink and Grow Rich. Lord knows how many Sean is in right now.
I got a few wounded soldiers here. Sorry. But yeah, I've had a few.
Just deleting brewskis. Man,
It's my
okay.
specialty.
So for those who haven't heard, Sean, this is his third time on the show. He is the owner of United Monograms, Sean Lowery Brands. He's also the host of the Sean Lowery Show. He also hosts Drink and Grow Rich every Friday, so that's a fun one. Everybody go check that out. He actually goes live on IG. That's something I haven't really done yet. I haven't dabbled into the live game too much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you. It is hard to get people for one reason. You are taking up their entire screen.
Yeah.
How often do you watch people live on Instagram?
Seriously, other than tuning in for you sometimes, I never do it.
I never do it either. I do it maybe like 10 minutes before my show just for good karma, but it's a big thing. It's taking up your entire screen. You can't listen to it in the background. You can't, just casually, it takes up your whole screen. You can't get a text message. If you get a text message, you have to leave it. So a live on Instagram, it's a big ask because of that, because of taking up your whole screen. So, whatever, we do it.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's fun. We get enough people in there to ask questions. And I was actually thinking about you today. Want to know why?
Why's that?
So one thing you mentioned to me before was I have a great business, right? And I have a lot of customers and all that stuff. You fixing up your lights?
Dude, yeah. Just a second.
Take your time, bro.
You can keep going.
All right, looking fresh. But you always talk to me about connecting audiences, right? So United Monograms has a great audience, and we actually go live every Wednesday. We go live Wednesday at 12:30, and we usually get like 160 people on Instagram and another 100 on Facebook. That's a lot of people for a live. A few hundred, 300 people every Wednesday at 12:30. United Monograms is doing great. The Sean Lowery Show, the podcast, is doing pretty well, but it's a separate entity in a way. But you always said, why don't you connect the two things? Why don't you bring in your audience? And I always said, well, the customers that are going to buy clothing from United Monograms aren't necessarily into entrepreneurship and business and like guy stuff. Not that girls can't be entrepreneurs. But most recently on my Drink and Grow Rich, my live show, a lot of United Monograms customers have been the winners lately. Today, There was like 6 United Monograms girls. They were all asking questions about Shelby, about United Monograms, and some other stuff too. And it's cool. But I also kind of wish that it was more like 8, 12 dudes that were like entrepreneurs. I don't really care about gender that much. Just more of like my audience. The crossover is a little annoying, to be honest, but it is kind of coming to fruition. Only on Drink and Grow Rich, not on likes on my posts and comments and stuff like that. That's good to have crossover. But on Drink and Grow Rich, it's like dominated by United Monograms people. So, yeah.
No, it's interesting. And you had, so Shelby hopped on the live stream the other day. So I wonder if they saw that. And I think she's done it before. So I wonder if they saw that and they're just like hoping she hops in and they're like,
she's way more popular than me. She's more likable. She's pretty. She's less cocky. She is more likable than me, and it's my greatest trait is my wife.
Awesome. Well, that's really sweet to say, man. So speaking of podcasts, like I love getting into random podcast topics, and we did that the Clubhouse the other day, and that was pretty fun. Man, something that's really been hitting me lately, I think, you know, being in the podcast game for a little bit now, I have certain pet peeves when it comes to podcasts that I'm absolutely sick of. And it's starting to get more and more like serious, and more of them keep popping up, and I'm trying not to let them bother me too much. But do you have certain pet peeves when it comes to podcasting?
Are you talking about guests?
Dude, a lot of things. So, for example, guests is one thing, but topics is another thing, especially in like the business space. I am so tired of the broad, like generic business topics that everybody covers. Like, I feel like you listen to any business related podcast, they have somebody on and they're like, so how do you get motivated, dude? Like, what's your mindset? How do you succeed? And it's just all these big, broad questions. And it's like the same questions and answers over and over. Like that's one that drives me nuts.
Dude, I mean, I'd eventually want to talk about you, but I am a purebred entrepreneur. Ever since I've been 22, 23, I've been running my own business. Like, I love that shit. I love talking about that shit. But I agree. Like, there's only so much you can say. Now, you have to look at it from the perspective of your listeners, right? Like, okay, assume there's someone that listens to every single episode of your podcast. I love Joe Rogan. I don't listen to every single one, but I get sick of him talking about, oh, the left and the right. Like, it's a great topic, but yes, sometimes things get annoying if you talk about them too much. And business is very similar to nutrition, and less calories, more calories. It's something that is simple, and you can only talk about it so much. So I agree 100%. But you bring on a business person and you have some things you want to talk to them about. I don't know what, like, I'm annoyed with it too. Like, I had Mikey Taylor on my podcast 2 days ago. Now I know that guy goes on a lot of podcasts, right?
Yeah.
It's not like a huge catch that I got him. He goes on like now he did not say my name. I don't think he knew who I was. I ended the podcast. It was pretty good. You know, I'm a good interviewer. I think when the podcast was over, I was like, felt negative. I was just like, that was so interviewy. It was so basic. And it didn't really ignite me. And then I had a podcast today with this guy, Max Resinger. He's 17 years old. He has 300,000 people on his YouTube channel. And the podcast went much better. And specifically with Mikey Taylor, I had on my screen the Zoom, and then on a little thing on the right, I had all the notes, all the questions I was going to ask him. With Max today, I didn't have any notes, and I did that on purpose because I just wanted to flow. And the difference between Mikey Taylor and this Max guy is that it's age. I mean, this Max guy this Max Resinger. You probably haven't heard of him, but he has 300,000 followers on YouTube. He's got a big audience. He has a clothing brand. But I didn't feel the pressure as I did that, I don't know, Mikey Taylor. Like, I scheduled my questions out. And when you kind of start a podcast and you like introduce them, I feel like it gets into very interviewing mode, and they're just like checking that off as something that they're doing that day.
Yes.
And I understand your frustration and your pet peeve, and I get what you're saying.
Well, so, I mean, like, when I have somebody on, for instance, I've completely gone away from that. I'm so much more interested, and maybe it's just a personality thing. I so much more want to get into, like, I don't know, their journey, and then getting into like practical knowledge, like really nitty gritty details. Like maybe I'm the only one that cares about it, but since I'm conducting like the conversation, I can kind of push it that way. It's just, I feel like a lot of times it's almost lazy interviewing when somebody's just wanting to get that high level stuff and they never get into the meat of anything.
Speech. It's a stump
Yes.
speech.
Yes. So
It's a stump speech. It's something that they have rehearsed, that they're trying to, like, you know, go on a lot of podcasts, be rehearsed, and they got their story, and they expect it to be an interview where they answer the questions and they know the answers and they pump it out. I don't like that either. I don't like it.
yeah.
So you know who Zuby is? He is.
No, I don't think so.
He was on Joe Rogan. He's black. He lives in England. He's kind of like rightish. He hates like vaccines and masks. Like, but he's also a rapper. I don't know. He was on Joe Rogan, and actually, he's very famous for setting the women's British weightlifting record for deadlift. As one day he identified as a woman. He's the man. He's coming to my podcast next week.
Hey, okay.
And I'm so pumped about it. Honestly, I paid him $500. I said,
cool. Yeah.
Dude, he's got I'm down to invest in my podcast to get good guests. And there's value in getting good guests. That, you know, associating you with the guest. There's value in that. Of course, like if you want to get other guests in the future, you want to have some credibility showing the guests that you've had. This guy Zuby's the fucking man, dude. Like, I love him. And the fact he accepted the money and he said, all right, I'll come on. So now I'm thinking about how I should approach it. Like, I feel like when you start off and you say their intro, you know, I feel like that sets a tone for an interviewee interview.
Yes.
So I'm trying to eliminate that. And one of the things I might say to Zuby is like, we're going to pre-record your introduction. And I don't know, maybe we will, maybe we won't. But the whole point of that is to like not start it off with that.
Yes.
Because if you say, like, who are you? What do you do? Like, and then it gets into stump speech mode.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea.
Annoying.
I did that for a period of time, and it did help me get right into the conversation, which did make it more flowy and less interviewee. The only problem with that was a lot of people, like judging off YouTube analytics, didn't make it past my intro of the person because they just wanted to get right to the conversation. So it's like, I think it helps the conversation between the person, but it doesn't always help the viewer. So it's like, man,
have you ever considered pre-recording the introduction?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I did. And
You did that.
And I,
Okay.
yeah, I would place
I've
it
seen
in
you
front of
Yeah.
my intro so that I never like introduce the guest to his face.
And you're saying on the analytics that, tell me that one more time on the analytics.
There's more drop off in those first couple of minutes. So people didn't make it through.
Because like they didn't see their face or something?
Yeah, and they're just hearing me talk and they're like, who's this guy? We don't want to hear him for however long he goes on.
Yeah, man. It's a fucking puzzle. It's a fucking puzzle.
Yeah.
And like, it helps so much to be famous. I'm not famous. Yeah. Like, the reason I was like frustrated, I was so frustrated after the Mikey Taylor podcast, because it just felt so like exactly what you're talking about. And I know that you know what I'm talking about. I didn't know. And the reason I was so frustrated, because I didn't know what to do. Like, so today I felt less pressure, and I think I had a really good podcast today with this guy, Max. And I literally had zero notes. I watched like 2 of his videos before. And I did say like, yeah, like tell me about who you are. And I said that because I didn't really know. And I didn't have, I had 0 questions planned, 0 topics planned. And I mean, I think you're good at this. And I think I'm good at it. It's just like having a conversation. And it went a lot better. I felt better about it after it was over. And that's why I have a more big name coming up. And I'm in the same situation as you.
Yeah.
I'm in the same situation as you. And I know exactly what you're talking about. And I don't know, how are you going to get somebody to come on your podcast if they think that they're just coming on to do their stump speech? And that comes down to branding. Like, people don't go on Joe Rogan, and no, people do go on Joe Rogan. And I use him as the example of the biggest podcast out there, right? They know what it is. And one thing that I respect a lot about it is that they know that it's 3 hours.
And
Like,
it's so long.
This one time I had this guy, Alex Guberman, on my podcast. Super cool dude. He's like, has like 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, and he's an electric car expert. I had him on once, and then I had him on a second time. I connected with him really well the first time, and the second time he came on, I told him, I said, yo, man, I want to do 2 hours, no matter what. And he was like, why? Like, why do you want to do that? I'm just like, just because, like, I just want to do 2 hours. Like, I want to, if we like hit a lull at an hour and 10 minutes, I don't want to feel like I have to wrap it up. Yep. I want to, and honestly, it ended up being awesome. It ended up being one of my favorite podcasts.
So he was cool with it, and he went 2 hours?
Yeah, we went 2 hours. He was
Nice.
cool with it. So I have this, like, I was DMing Zuby on Twitter, and I have this like thing typed out to like ask him that question. I haven't hit send yet, but I want to ask him to, like, it's a weird question to ask. Like, hey, can you do 2 hours with me? And they're going to be like, what? Like, what? And the problem is that they don't know my podcast.
Right. Yep.
So the answer to the question of how to get out of this lull is to have your podcast be known. And how do you get your podcast to be known? Get awesome guests, or like be a lightning bolt yourself. It's just a conundrum.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I wonder, like, just to bring it up to him and future people, if you're just like, you act like that's the new norm. You're just like, yeah, so, we're planning to go 2 hours. Does that work?
Exactly. I think that's a solution.
Yeah.
And like, think about it. Joe Rogan, like, and here's the other difference. Here's the other difference with Joe Rogan. Physical, someone's actually there.
Yes. Oh, man.
So, like, you're not going to go all the way there and then just do, 40 minutes. But so the combination of that plus the combination of, I know Joe Rogan, he does 3-hour podcasts. And he's famous, and it's the #1 podcast. So it's probably a bad example. But if they know the show that they're going on, and that helps. And it's hard to get that, especially if you're getting big guests. Like, they agree to come on, you're excited about it. And then they treat it like a stump speech. And they say, like, who are you? And honestly, they're right. Who are we? Like,
yeah.
So that is a strategy, I think, is asking to do 2 hours. I'm going to reword my thing and ask Subi, hey, man, maybe I'm going to phrase it like this. Hey, man, just to let you know, this podcast is a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah. I wouldn't overcomplicate it.
Exactly. Like, okay, let me actually read what I've typed out, because I bet you this sounds fucking stupid. It saves my DMs. I didn't send it because I thought it sounded stupid. So Twitter, DM, Zuby. Here's what I've typed out, and I didn't send it. Yo, man, for the podcast coming up on the 18th, I want to try to make it conversational. I just finished with this one guy, Mikey Taylor, and it was great. Just felt rushed for some reason. Think we can make the podcast 90 minutes minimum? I'm not going to send that.
I think that makes him sound like he's a guinea pig to test out this new thing.
Exactly. So I didn't send it, and I was thinking it, and I didn't send it. I think I'm going to resend it and say, yo, man, just to let you know, this is a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that could happen, man? I'm paying him, like I said. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? He goes, oh, man. Like,
I can only do an hour and a half. Okay. Well.
All right, man. Like, all right. But like the difference in that is when the moment comes where you're kind of, you got some questions, bang, 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 bang. Then it's like at a stop. Then you're like, all right, well, to wrap it up, like, where should people find you? It eliminates that, because both of you are looking at the clock, and you're like, whoa, we still got 50 minutes. I better chill out. And that's might be when it gets good.
Yeah. No, I like that. And it does seem like Rogan, sometimes he'll, like, you think it's starting to die down after an hour, but then
it does.
He'll, like, get reinvigorated with something else.
Exactly.
And it's like a second wind.
It does die down. but then they get the second win because the expectation is the 3 hours.
Yep.
So I think the expectation of time is the key to eliminating the problem that we're both having. And I'm working on it.
Yeah, I like that.
It's also weird to say that though, but that's why I'm working on the phrasing and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's interesting, man. Dang. So, all right, you're in this new giant building now. How does it feel? Is it like, were you so pumped to get in there, or how are you feeling about it now?
One thing about like real estate deals is just like, and I learned this about like 4 years ago. I bought my house, big house, now sold it. There's never like a moment to celebrate. Like you got approved for the loan, and then like there's the inspection, and then like, dude, I'm fucking excited. It is exactly what my company needs. And if I were to be nervous, it would be that we're so tiny in this big building now, and it might feel stupid. And I don't know a damn thing about anything about buildings. I am not the most handy guy. I'm trying to buy this, dude. I'm gonna be fucking broke, man. I'm gonna be so broke. I spent $307,000 on the down payment of the building, and that came, a lot of that, about 185 of that came from the sale of my house, the equity, and then I'm about to spend $181,000 on this new equipment, and then another $75,000 on embroidery machines, and then $53,000 on this new software, and then like I'm setting up the water and the electricity. And on the electricity, I just got an email hour ago. They said your electricity's set up. There'll be a $2,700 deposit. Like, I'm gonna be fucking broke soon, dude, man. And I don't know. It's exactly what I need. So it's risky, but like not really, because the one thing I can always hang my hat on, the one thing that keeps me alive, is checking my Shopify app and seeing the sales. Revenue and sales solve all problems. It doesn't even matter in a way if it's profitable. Of course, it matters in the long run, but like if you have revenue, you can survive. And I'm a risk taker, man. And this new building is expensive. It's a huge leap. It's like 2 leaps past where I should logically go. But fuck it, dude. Who cares?
I love it. Well, knowing you too, the thing is now it's just like the building looks so empty now, I'm sure, but it's basically just untapped potential and opportunity, and you'll find a way to fill it. You don't know what it is yet, but it's gonna be filled with something.
I got a loan from the SBA, the Small Business Association, a government federal organization. So like I'm essentially being backed by America on this deal, and part of the deal, you know, dude, oh my God, the paperwork, dude, the paperwork. You have no idea. I wrote my first 5-page essay. I filled out just months and months of paperwork, right? But part of it is I'm supposed to rent out the specific part of the building. And I'm considering not renting it out and just podcasting in it. Like, I don't know, like, I don't want to rent it out because I don't want fucking strangers stomping through my building and like using the same lifting gates as us for deliveries. Like, I don't want to rent out the building. But maybe I might have a different opinion in 8 months when I have to make all these payments and stuff like that. And I can make it work. But I'm excited about the space. And one of the extra things to do with the space is like build a podcast area in studio. And like, that's something to get excited about. I am very excited about the business. I'm obsessed with selling Monogram clothing and the potential that we can do with our machines. One thing me and Brandon think about is like, where could we take what we're doing, right? Like I've already spent a stupid amount of money on ads and stupid shit and equipment and Brandon's salary for this with zero revenue. Like I'm so fortunate to have like my business to help me out with some of this shit. But one of the first thing we were thinking about doing was potentially hiring another person to host their own podcast.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, that's interesting. I don't think enough places do that yet. You know, like Tom Segura, your mom's house, they do that. They have all the equipment, the full setup. So they should let other people come in and record. So, I mean, that's
They
interesting.
like rent out the space to other people to host a podcast?
Yeah, well, I think actually how it works, they might actually share revenue, I think is how it
Because
works.
that's not what I'm thinking.
Oh, okay. So
What
you
I'm
would just,
thinking it
they could just come in the space and do whatever they want.
no, I'm thinking we pay a podcaster a salary to host the show, and we'll handle all the expenses, and we get all any revenue. Like essentially, like Barstool. Barstool,
Mm,
they have a bunch of podcasts. They have a bunch of content that generates ad revenue, and they pay the personalities money, and they're happy with it. And then any revenue that comes from that, it goes towards the business. And like, I don't know, maybe I could pop in once in a while and like kind of be like, go on their show once in a while. Like basically like a bar stool, or Patrick Bet David and Valuetainment.
yep. Yep.
They have like a economics channel. Like they're kind of trying basically a content business. And one of the principles of what is the business? The business would have to be an ad revenue generated business, but the things that you would own that would entice people to work for you would be the equipment and the distribution and the setup and the money willing to put into promotion. That's more of my idea. And then it's like
Yeah.
part of the brand a little bit. Like, and we don't know. We put out an ad on Facebook just for a little bit, and we said the other thing is it has to be local, right? So we did like the radius of Charleston, and we said, "Are you interested in hosting a podcast? Hit us up." And like we didn't really get a lot of good action from it. It was just a thing. But if like I don't know, maybe they have politics, maybe it's sports, but it would be under the umbrella of like the content company, and that's kind of like the light vision for the future of the point of what I'm doing with the content, because I don't know, I spend a lot of money and I do this for fun and I want to leave a legacy. And but what do you I would imagine you're not raking in the bucks.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Working on it. Yeah.
How do you see why do you do this?
I mean, for this, like, it's kind of multifaceted. I love the networking aspect of it, and I feel like brainstorming with people like you and people on the show have really expanded my, like, vision and allowed me to think bigger. So, for a while there, I was just kind of working by myself, really siloed off. And,
So you were just looking for human
man,
interaction.
it's hard. Like, well, entrepreneur human interaction, yeah.
Right.
Because in my area, like small town Missouri, dude, not a lot of entrepreneurs. Like people I went to school with, I don't know of any that I went to school with. So
Man.
I'm trying to like, connect with people like you, but then also I needed some way to create original content. And I've always been interested in podcasts and it's always crossed my mind. So it's like, okay, I could do this, get that long form of content, and then also be able to chop it up and use it across social, try to build a presence and show people what I can do and all of that. So, it's multifaceted.
And what's going on with your whole advertising agency job?
Yeah.
What's up with Brad? What's going on with all that?
Dude, I mean, it's
You are
fun.
still a full-time employee of your job, right?
Yep.
I see you on Instagram. I see you on social media. It doesn't seem like you work 9 to 5. With COVID, are you still like going in and all that?
No, that's
Okay.
been the
So
best.
much easier to
thing.
slack off.
I mean, dude, to be honest, like being at the same job for 4.5 years, I know it so well, and being remote, it's honestly just so easy at this point that I can have, like, I put in a lot of hours there, but it's not very mentally draining. So I can like have my head in the clouds, for my own things for a lot of the day. And hours are pretty flexible. So when needed to get other things done.
And you're good at it. And you're good at it.
Yeah. So that
You're good at it. The company does not want you to leave. They're not going to fire you. You are delivering what they want.
No, yeah, they definitely don't want me to. They definitely don't want me to leave.
So that is your salary. That's your base. That's easy for you.
Yep.
So then you're experimenting with other stuff.
Yeah, growing. So, man, I know I mean, we talked a while back, like the first, well, when would it have been? I guess when I was on your show, actually, like talking about things I'm getting into and stuff. The problem that I always dealt with was trying to do too much on my own. Lots changed in recent months, really the past 6 months, when I started building kind of a makeshift team, makeshift agency in the area. So I can offer things on the digital advertising side, but without great content, it's very hard to like put together a cool package. And a lot of times people don't want just like this one-off service unless they make great content.
I remember you talking about this. Of course, I remember all of our conversations. You want to find local Kansas City businesses and do their digital marketing, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Or produce content for them. So
not only local, but yeah.
Okay. But it makes sense to start that way because if you have to drive over there with your camera, whatever. Okay. You want to do that. And okay, like a commercial, like a TikTok, a Instagram ad, all that stuff, all the above, one of those things, like what's your is this a separate name, this company? Like what if I'm a Kansas City insurance agent and I want a commercial and I want you, who am I writing a check to? Who am I?
Yeah, so Braddog Media. It's Media. Yeah. It's I mean, if you want to talk like business structure, so it's basically like a solo independent business and I contract out as needed is how it technically works. Right.
Yeah. So like what does that have to do with your podcast?
I mean, the podcast, like, it's really just a way to actually get my thoughts out there and create original content. And then I can basically have people get to know me, like whether they're in the area or not. It's kind of just like, I don't know, you kind of consider it top of funnel. It's not like, I wouldn't say I've generated a ton of business from it, but I don't know.
I can't imagine how you would generate business from it.
No, not a lot.
So like one thing that I'm always, me and you have different objectives with our podcast.
Yeah.
I am just probably fucking ego driven and just want to be famous and like love talking business, think I'm good at it. And I'm making money from my other thing. And like, I don't know. I just want to be famous and I want to help people and all that stuff. And I've had a lot of awesome people on the podcast. Like I know you have too. And I always connect with them. I very rarely like continue the relationship that much. And it's because I hear a lot of people talking about, it's networking opportunities. It's opportunities to, build your network. And like, for me, my business generates revenue from selling products to girls online individually.
Yeah.
Having Patrick Bet David doesn't help that at all. So it's really two separate entities, but like I've always struggled with the relationship and I don't care. I don't have a relationship, but like people always say podcasts are great for networking. For me, I don't know. It's not really great for networking. Like, but you are trying to make it great for networking.
Yeah.
But I don't see how it is for you. I don't see how it is for you either.
Well, it is like, and with me being more B2B, well, I mean, completely B2B, like I've met a lot of people in business that have connected me with other people and given me referrals. So it has happened, but that's just like one piece of it. I mean, I just like being in the conversation too. Like in a large part, it's just a hobby. It's
absolutely fun having conversations.
Yeah. So if anything else, I get that out of it, but then other things are bonus.
I justify it as 100% for conversation, for fun, for like, I say my ego like it's a bad thing, but like, you don't know. I think the most important part of anyone's legacy is how long after they die does one person on the planet still know their name? Think about that. Like George Washington doing great in that category. Like Julius Caesar, Cleopatra, Napoleon doing great in that category. What about the guy in ancient Rome who was one of the top businessmen, but he for thousands of years lived on through his family and his community? Ancient Rome dies. All of a sudden he's gone. I feel like the legacy game is like, how long can you exist after you die? And like, I haven't done anything to make me that yet, but that's like my reason for podcasting. One, for fun, absolutely, and I have no shame in that. Fun, it's fun. I'm having fun right now. Two is there's no harm, and there's only positive things that come from a personal brand.
Totally. Yeah.
It depends.
Yeah.
It absolutely depends how good your personal brand is. But if you can build a personal brand that is, oh, that guy, that can help you. Now, it can help some people more than others, probably B2B and stuff like that. But it just can't hurt to build a personal brand.
Totally. Yeah. No,
and like, fucking, that's why I'm doing it. And it's a terrible reasoning. But like,
yeah,
I'm not even pretending like I'm doing it for some logical reason. I'm not. I'm killing it in my real business. And I'm doing this for fun and to grow my legacy. And like, I admit it. And like, I feel like you're doing the same thing as me, but you're trying to justify it in a way that you're saying like, oh, I might get clients or something like that. But I don't know. Is that true?
That's a small part of it. I mean, honestly though, the fun part's so great because, and it's kind of a mental relief thing. Like we're all busy during the week grinding, right? And then I can check in with you here on a Friday, see what you're doing, and like kind of think of things in a bigger picture. And like, okay,
yeah,
so
dude.
he's doing this and that, so it's fun. I mean, worst case,
definitely
it's
not
just
gonna
fun.
fucking talk to you if it's not recorded.
All right, we're back from a little potty break with Sean Lowery.
This is my favorite podcast, by the way, to be on.
Dude, this is a good one. We were talking about drinking. We all know Sean's a big drinker. We witness it every Friday. But yeah.
For all you know, I only drink on Friday.
That's what I assume. I'm like, there's no way he's drinking like this daily or his life would be out of control.
Not like this. I don't know. I think my biggest health problem is I work out every single day. I'm mentally fit. I'm physically fit. I literally, if you want to play basketball right now, I will play 1,000 games. I don't get tired. Like at my gym, I'm one of like the fastest people. Like I go to Orange Theory and I love Orange Theory Fitness. Like I love it.
So you're just like a cardio machine?
I'm a cardio junkie. I'm a junkie for cardio. Literally, like I'm strong, like, but I'm not like jacked, but I'm pretty strong. But I'm a cardio junkie. Like I love cardio, and I can go forever and ever and ever and ever. But the only reason, like, I think I'm not a little more fit, like I could always lose like 5-10 pounds. Is like I always enjoy a beer with like a meal. God damn, dude. I don't know. That's my problem. I should do like one of those sober Octobers or well, it doesn't have to be October, but like a dry month because I love challenges. So I don't know. My life is not negatively affected by any type of drinking. It's not a problem. Like, so, you know, most problems, they're problems because they are problems. Jerking off too much, anything like that. It can be a problem. If it's a problem. If it's not a problem, that's not a problem. So like maybe I'm just trying to justify having a beer with dinner, but I am certainly not like, you know, doing terribly because I like to have a beer. But I do.
No.
And the only negative effect is like I could probably be like 5-10 pounds less if I never drank.
Dude, I don't know what it is, but I mean, I'm only 27 now, but I feel like, so I don't know, it's weird to say this, but as I'm getting like older, I guess, beers put me to sleep, man. Unless I'm out and about, like at a social activity, I drink a beer and I'm ready to like fall asleep.
That's why you're drinking some whiskey now?
Yeah. So I'll keep rolling.
It honestly, like beers don't do that to me. And that's my biggest problem is beer, not even alcohol in general. Like if I just drank like white liquor, I'd probably be 6 pounds less. But then again, like I got an uncle who's an alcoholic because he drinks too much white liquor. Like I do not have, give me liquor. I need liquor to sleep. I need it to wake up. Like it's 0% like that. I just enjoy a beer. And like, I've read somewhere it's like smart people enjoy, drinking because like they want to change their state or something like that. I don't know, but I'm doing all right. Don't worry about me, Brad. Don't call. Don't do an intervention with me.
long story short, Sean doesn't have a problem. Okay. Get off his back.
What else is fucking interesting you in the world today, man?
Dude, a lot's interesting.
What?
Man, what was I gonna talk to you about today? I had a couple things in mind. Um, dude, so lately I've seen you talk a lot about like manifesting, okay? Manifesting your goals. This has been kind of an interesting topic I've been seeing going around lately, and I've been trying to practice it. I have certain things that I read and say to myself every day. And how long have you been doing that? I know it's big in the book Think and Grow Rich. So like, is that the point where it started for you, or is that more of a recent thing?
It's the point where I look reading the book Think and Grow Rich. I've said this many times. It changed my life, and I don't mean that on a small level. It absolutely put me from one person to another person. I was 18 and I was one person, and then I was 19 and then I was another person, and I'm still that person at 31. So it absolutely changed my life, and it's not hyperbole by any means. It's a 100% fact. And I guess I probably like was somebody who was willing to accept that. But essentially, Dream Go Rich says it's all about manifesting. It's all about manifesting. And there's this episode of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Do you like that show?
I love it. I've seen all but like this last season, I think.
There's this
I've seen them all.
One of my favorite episodes is about vision boards.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. It's like, oh, I'm going to put a hot chick on a motorcycle on my vision board. And like that, I fucking love that. It's mocking the theory, but it's so funny because it should be taken like that on a funny level. But like, it's not so precise as far as like, I'm going to imagine I'm going to have a giant dick, and then 10 days later, I do, you know. You can't change shit like that. It's true though about, do you understand the principles of it? I'll give you a quick.
Yeah. So, I mean, funny enough, I am not a big reader. I like to watch and listen. I have the book Think and Grow Rich, and I am like halfway through it. The other problem with my reading is to not like get sidetracked too much, especially with this book. I'll read a page and like just think about how I can apply it for like 30 minutes. And that's like my whole reading for the day. Cause like, I never get through books.
Yeah. I honestly was a huge reader from 19 to 24, 25, 26. Obsessed. Now, one question I have, is there a difference between listening to an audiobook and reading? I don't care about that. It's about absorbing the information.
Yeah.
I haven't read as much lately, and I'm actually trying to like get back into it because I'm at a stage now where like I'm putting out content instead of consuming. And I've been doing it for like a year and a half, 2 years now, and I feel like I might need to learn more to be able to put out more. But whatever, about your reading, whatever.
Yeah.
Think and Grow Rich. It's like this. Your subconscious mind, your back of your head, like the back 3/4 of your brain. That is like where your dreams come from. Like, do you dream a lot?
Yeah, a lot.
I'm a crazy dreamer.
Yeah.
Your subconscious mind is like you can't make your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is what it is. You can't control it. Like in your conscious mind, which is like the front quarter of your brain, is the thing you can control when you're awake, right? It's like the thing that makes you brush your teeth and it makes you go to school, go to class, whatever. It's your very front of your brain. And the only way to get a message through to your subconscious mind is through your conscious mind. Now, if you are living in hell, and it's not hard to convince your subconscious mind that you live in hell because you do, you know, I don't know, maybe like the literal Bible hell, right? Like it can make your subconscious mind believe the truth in 2 seconds if it's true. But here's the thing. The subconscious mind gets all its information from the conscious mind. And the conscious mind doesn't know the difference between things that are happening in real life or things that you envision are happening.
Yep.
That's fucking crazy to me.
Crazy. Oh, it's
crazy. So if you, now the question comes down to how much time, but if you can convince your subconscious mind of something, then it takes over your autonomous actions. Like there's no way to understand how you act differently when your subconscious mind has a belief, but your subconscious mind acts differently when you have a belief. And you can make your subconscious mind believe things, but that's where the work comes in.
Yeah.
And that is like envisioning it or whatever. I don't literally sit down and like every day. I do try to meditate 3, 4, or 5 times a week. And I don't know how much I even get from that, to be honest. Like, I don't know. But I think it's more on like a daily level. Just, I don't know. Like, you have to convince it. So you have to believe that you're great. And the best thing to believe that you're great is to do things that are great. That's the easiest way to do it. The easiest way to do it is to actually do the things that are very successful. Then it's easy to convince your subconscious mind because it's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, if you're shitty, then you got to fight. And then it's like, should you be overconfident? Kind of, for the sake of convincing your subconscious mind, but then that will fuck up. So if you are overconfident and you think you're the best at everything, but you're not, that will actually fuck up your regular life. That'll fuck up your conscious life because you are misreading situations. So it's like a game that you have to play between understanding the front quarter of your brain is your conscious mind, and that controls your actions on a day-to-day basis, on a minute-to-minute basis. But your subconscious mind will take over your body at crunch time in real situations. So like, I think that I'm fucking awesome at business. And I had to think that before I was. And then sometimes I think like, damn, I'm not that good. And that's my conscious mind. And like, it's a game, but if you can convince your subconscious mind of a reality that's not necessarily true, the reality will start to manifest in real life. And this is not voodoo. This is proven biological brain science.
The cool thing too, and the way I think about it, the impression I got from the book is like, you're not always there yet, but you picture where you want to be, that like it's a done deal. And now your brain is just working to help you get on that track. So like where you want to be in 2 years, just imagine you're there. It's going to happen. And your brain will like pick up patterns and start to figure out the path to get there.
That's a key term. Pick up patterns. Like the monogram opportunity came to me and I saw it. I would not have seen that opportunity if I weren't in the state I was in. Like picking up patterns and seeing opportunities are the key to this, because you can be in the right frame of mind and whatever, and your life's going on, but then you see that opportunity. I think I'm always in that state.
Yes.
And like, you have to, if your brain's in the right state to see that opportunity, that's what makes the difference. Because then your conscious mind sees it and your subconscious mind runs it. And like, then you embrace that opportunity. The monogram business, this little example in my life, anyone could see it. Anyone could see it. It's a market. The girls in the South, they love buying monogram clothes. Anyone could see that. And obviously you have to go execute it. But like, it wasn't about me starting the business at that point. It was that fact that I already was doing clothing. I was already, so like, it came at the right time. And that's the specialty, is the pattern recognition of where you want to be. And like, the subconscious mind controls that. And that's, sometimes it's sitting and waiting. And I feel like I'm a fucking lightning bolt ready to explode for something great. And I'm doing great things. Like, But a lot of times I feel like I'm not all there yet because, but I just trust myself. I trust myself that I'll see opportunities whenever they're there. And I'm a great investor. I'm big in Bitcoin. I've made like $120,000 since I started investing in like 2015. And I just think it's because I understand the fundamentals of investing, but also I see shit. And like, I don't know, man, that is what manifesting is. It's tricking your subconscious mind into believing. Now, it depends who you want to be. If you don't want to be an entrepreneur or a businessman and you want to be the greatest chef, then you have to treat your subconscious mind differently. That's the beauty of it. And Think and Grow Rich is all about the most important thing. And this is the beauty of Gary Vee saying he wants to own the Jets, and the beauty of Elon Musk saying he wants to go to Mars. He wants to be the person responsible for interplanetary species. Those are very specific, driven, high-level things. Elon Musk is higher than Gary Vee, but it's their subconscious mind's belief, and that is everything they do on a daily basis is towards that, and that is the special sauce. And I don't necessarily, personally, am the best at having that one specific thing, but I do think about it all the time. It's like, I need that. Am I going to be the number one shirt seller? Am I going to be the number one girls clothing, number one monogram seller? I admit that I don't know what like my one thing is, but I know that I want that one thing. And I know that I trust myself for when that moment hits that I'll be able to nail it. And, building up this building and all that, it's got something to do with that. So it's like, that's kind of how it works. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it's interesting. And it's like when you kind of picture just bigger things in general and like imagine yourself getting there, then you're in the game and you start actually making moves. And I feel like you're not going to be able to jump on any opportunities if you're just sitting back waiting for something to happen.
Exactly.
So even if you're making stupid decisions, at least you're like in the conversation. And then if things come up, I mean, I've noticed this like recently, just being in like the business scene around Kansas City, just being involved. I've just gotten in conversations that have led to things that like I would have never gotten just sitting at my house, like trying to stir things up in my head or whatever, it just would never happen.
Dude, you said two smart things: pattern recognition and being in the game. Being in the game is so key. It's everything. And you're never going to have that snap moment every second. But if you're in the game, you're much more likely to see that snap moment. You're a little frustrated with the podcasting and the guests and the regurgitated business stuff, but you're doing it and like you're in the game. And who knows when that moment might click and stuff. And that is a way many more levels above somebody who's just being like, I'm waiting for my moment as I sit here and play Xbox or whatever. So that's the hard part.
Well, it's interesting. And I mean, even speaking of podcasting, like, not that I couldn't have gotten involved in these roles, but recently, like just in 2021, I've been needed to help bring attention to original content. And in one case, a podcast. And it helps that I've like had some experience there now. So just from podcasting alone, there's a benefit. Plus like all the other little things that it's, helped me learn and people to network and meet with. So, I would have never gotten those experiences without hopping in.
Yeah. And the Kansas City thing, right? I hate local personally. I hate looking at business locally. I just hate it. I just can't stand it. Like, that's why I love e-commerce. Like, and like your Kansas City thing, it's like your podcast is not necessarily Kansas City based, gives you credibility and connecting with all these people, all this stuff. And then the thing that connecting to it is like Kansas City based. It's like, I don't know. Are you crushing it in that? Or like, could you, I don't know, do something that's not Kansas City based?
Yeah, I definitely want to expand it nationwide. It's just like, it's so much easier, I feel like, getting off the ground with people you're physically around.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fact.
That's been a really good starting point. But I mean, I've I'm talking to some people that are nationwide, some bigger things going on, hoping to get that started here soon. Like the ultimate goal isn't to dominate just Kansas City. You know, there's bigger opportunities elsewhere, but
I feel you, man.
yeah,
I feel
yeah.
you. It's exciting. The world's a fucking exciting place, man. Like we're talking about like what things are exciting in the world to you. I feel like the news has gotten a lot more boring ever since like Trump's gone. Yeah.
Do you think that's on purpose or not?
I mean, I don't know if, on purpose, like by whose intention?
Like
The media.
the
Stuff?
media making Trump look bad. That's an opinion of a lot of people.
I mean, of course, the media hates Trump.
Yeah.
The media is a piece of shit, in my opinion. Like, they're just money hungry. They're one sided. Now, I like Trump. I voted for him twice, and that now that he's out of the picture, it is a little refreshing. Like, it is a little like I've just been able to focus on entrepreneurship and business more. And like, now is that more boring? Yeah. And it kind of is a little more boring, but like, I don't hate Joe Biden, dude. I don't hate Joe Biden. What's the hate about Joe Biden, man? If anything, it was like, he is a shill. He's like the face for the left. I mean, he's not AOC. He's not some radical left-wing hippie protester. He's an old white middle of the aisle man, you know? And I think that's why he won. I was surprised when he won. But I know a lot of people in Pennsylvania who voted for Trump the first time and then didn't. My mom, Shelby's dad, a few of my friends, like, and the fact that Biden's in the presidency right now is like, it just doesn't matter. It's like, it's not the most important thing. And I feel like I do respect that. And I think that's what a lot of people that voted for him saw was like, dude, can we just stop talking about this every second?
Yeah, dude, I am so glad that politics is dying down, and I hope it just almost gets forgotten about in a couple months.
Politics is fucking nerdy.
I hate it.
Like,
I'm sick of hearing about it.
So nerdy. It's so nerdy. Trump made it a little cool and fascinating, interesting, but also raised in like anger and defending against that anger. He raised it all. And dude, I mean, I love a lightning rod guy who comes in and I'm a huge history nerd. I'm obsessed with history. I know so much about American history. And I loved his storyline of coming in as a businessman, fucking against the media, the political left, like everyone is equal, like just coming in and like bringing back I love all that shit. And
I love the heel. He was a heel.
I wanted that storyline to go on for 4 more years. I think he was really good with international, like good with like foreign affairs. I think he was really good at that. And I do think he pretty good with policy. Now here I am talking about policy. I don't fucking know a damn thing about policy. Like I think he was good though, but whatever. He's out and it's interesting. But the point is, it's like, it's less news. I feel like there's just less news.
Yeah. No, I know. It's
we got to make our own news.
Dude, finally, I know. That's one thing too. It's like, okay, now there's actually an opening in the media. Before it was just covered up by politics every day. And I mean, you couldn't get away from it. Like you check Twitter, YouTube, it's just all over the place. But
so I feel like there's a little bit of a fresher breath there. What do you think have been the things that have been filling that?
I mean, NFL playoffs in my bubble, like that was a big thing, especially here in Kansas City. Shout out Chiefs. Didn't quite get it done.
I know you're a Seahawks. You're a Seahawks fan.
Yeah. So it's funny too. It's the first time I've ever. So my brother-in-law got me a Chiefs jersey, and I'm like, screw it, I'll throw it on. And I'm like, I'm probably gonna curse the team, and they get destroyed, man. So I have some people not too happy with me.
If the Chiefs had a Super Bowl parade, come on, you're going.
No, I didn't go to the last one, and they said here that they wouldn't have it because of the virus.
Okay, fair. I mean, I liked how the Tampa Bay did it in like a boats or whatever.
That was cool.
They got to be able to like say, you know, it wasn't bad. What do you think about COVID overall?
I mean, I'm not gonna like dismiss it from being real, but I think it was a
It's
little
real.
overplayed by I don't know. I don't know. I go back and forth on it. It's just like it's hard to decipher, and that's the thing that's so annoying. It's hard to decipher what's true and what isn't. So it's like to a certain point, I'm just not going to stress about it because I don't even know what's real and what's not. So why am I going to let it affect my world?
I
So I'm
mean,
just trying to like stay in my
on a
lane.
selfish level, like we are the least affected people,
Yeah.
young,
Yeah.
healthy people. Um,
I
dude,
mean, like I throw a mask on and like
of course,
I don't want to freak out like elderly or people around. So I do that. But,
also, like,
you
why
know,
wouldn't I put a mask on at the store? It's just
yeah, I
like
mean,
masks definitely help.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's a spread through your mouth and your nose. Like it definitely helps. I took a long time to like adjust, and I take great pride in being a fast adapter to things that are important. I hadn't been sick in 17 years, and I got sick once, and I swear it was after a wedding I went to on January 1st of 2019. I think it was COVID. I don't get sick, and I think that the reason I don't get sick is because of a strong mental state. I believe that if you say you're not going to get sick and you tell yourself you're not going to get sick, that you won't. I think
Or
common
are you
sickness,
manifesting it and now you're making
manifesting it,
decisions that are keeping you from getting sick?
boom, part of it, yes,
I try to
and
do the same thing.
exactly, and also like so masks. My initial reaction was it's the opposite of manifesting. It is putting out into the world that fear and you might get sick and you might get sick. Have you ever seen the movie The Crucible? It's like about the Salem witch trials. It's like, oh my God, a witch.
Yeah.
There's a witch over there. Like that's what the joke I make about sickness before COVID. It's like, oh, one person in the office is sick. Then they're like pointing to air and they're like, there's sickness there. There's sickness there. Then they go home and they sniffle and they're like, I'm sick. And then they just admit that they're sick. And then they're out for a couple of days. Like, I think that is true. There's a lot of what you expect to feel when it comes to the common cold and the flu. The coronavirus is absolutely real. And so is the flu. But like, that's the part I don't like about the mask at first and in general. And like, it's accepting the fact that it's possible to get it at any second. If you don't wear a mask, then you're more likely to get sick. And I don't like thinking about it. And
No.
I think that ignoring it is like a good strategy in a way. But I mean, I wear the mask and in public because
Yeah.
it's a dick move not to. And it's like not somewhere I'm going to die. I'm not going to die on that sword, like not wearing a mask, because that's just stupid. Like it definitely helps.
I know it's like out of all things to fight about, it's whatever. But I mean, I don't know. I start to say it's overplayed. I don't know that it's overplayed. The one thing is, I'm a big data guy. I don't understand how you can say like this year, apparently there was no flu. Anything flu related was contributed to COVID. And that just doesn't make sense to me. So I don't know.
The other argument there could be the flu didn't spread because people were wearing masks.
Maybe. I mean, but I don't know.
I do believe that masks help stop the spread of disease that comes through your mouth, of course. And like, so I think that might be why the flu's down. But also, I understand that point too. It's just like, goddamn, the worry is the problem. Being worried is not ever good.
No, totally. I mean, I'm curious, what is it like where you're at? And like when it was the worst of the worst in 2020, like just like to explain where I'm at in a smaller city in Missouri, the majority of people here, I mean, we're talking like people think the government's coming to take their rights, like by making them put on a mask. It's the end of the world. And we have some of the more like looser laws as far as like
Kansas City.
Things like that.
It's a big city. If I had to guess, if you look at Kansas voting, Missouri, I'm not Trump. I know Kansas City is in Missouri, but I would imagine that the city of Kansas City is blue, and then outside of it's probably red.
Yeah, because it's filled with a lot of smaller cities around it.
All big cities are blue.
Yeah,
and usually rural areas are red. I think that's like, I understand you don't want to get the government to take away your rights. Fuck, of course, dude. It's fucking America. Like, but also the coronavirus is real, and it's like, it's if you're going to be the guy that fights to not put on a mask just for the sake of the rights, not the sake of not spreading the disease, that puts you in a situation where you're fighting a principle that's not really there in that situation. And like, that's just silly to me. I respect and care very much about the principle. Of course I do. Freedom, individual choice, that's the most American it gets. But also, the mask is just a simple, easy thing that helps. So, like, I'm not going to die on that sword. Maybe some people don't have anything to fight for, and that's what they want to fight for. And I get that, and I understand their point of view. Is it embarrassing to get kicked out of a restaurant for that? Well, maybe they take pride in it. And I'm not judging them. I don't care. I don't judge them. I think Charleston's probably very similar to Kansas City. It's a blue city in a red state. And the interesting point about where I am at is what the virus was March, April. July 1st was when the state mandated that people have to wear masks. I started wearing a mask on July 1st. And then I've been wearing it since then at grocery stores or whatever.
Yeah.
And I guess it was the law that made me do it. Dude, I mean, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I actually have I trust the government. And like, dude, I mean, I said I voted for Trump twice. I love America. I'm a freedom-toting American dude, but I'm also a centrist. If you had to define me politically in one way, it'd be a centrist. And like, I don't know, I fucking like this country. I just got a loan from the SBA that helped me get my building. I got a PPP loan that I don't have to pay back. Like, we have roads that allow me to drive anywhere I want that were built by the government. Like, I like the government. They protect us. I'm not fucking pumped to pay my taxes, but I look positively upon the government.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you for the most part. I'm pretty middle of the road, and it's kind of interesting because in general, I would say like a libertarian pretty much. So it's like, it's kind of funny with all these rights things. It's like, I can see both sides of it, and I'm like, whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, see, actually, I don't consider myself a libertarian.
Really?
Because I like the government in a way. Dude, think about this. Roads. This might sound dumb. Just think about it. Roads, right? Roads. You can get from Key West to Seattle on American roads. Now, the government should not control industry at all. Private businesses should control industry. But what private citizens are going to pay for those roads?
None.
It makes sense for the government to pay for the infrastructure of the roads. And I don't know, man. You can go anywhere you fucking want with the roads. And that's a little thing. They're already built. Don't give them too much credit. But I like the roads. The reason I'm not a libertarian is because I do kind of like the government a little bit. But also, like, don't get me wrong. And here's the other thing. I have the luxury of being a centrist, knowing that there's fucking nut jobs out there fighting for the other side. And I don't mean nut jobs negatively. Yeah. I know there's people that care more. If I looked out there and I saw nobody fighting for freedom or like the right not to wear a mask, I might have to go over there. But I know there's so many people fighting for that I feel like, all right, they're fighting for that. They're fighting for that. I'm just going to worry about my own shit.
That's so funny. I totally agree. Yeah, it's like, I don't think it's as serious as they make it, but in their mind, it's like, well, it's a slippery slope. First the mask, then this. So
I'm glad they're doing it.
I'm like, all right, cool. You keep them in check. Yeah. I'm not going to stress about it, but you take care of it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the vaccine. It's like, as long as everyone else gets it, hey, get it. like that could, I'm the last in line, healthy young guy. I'm not really signing up to get it. Like, so just if everyone else gets it. And here's another funny comparison. You might laugh at this. I don't ever lock my door.
That's so funny. I've seen you say that.
Dude, I never lock my door. You want to know why I don't lock my door? Because it's such a fucking hassle to have to unlock it.
Is it?
It's like you go to your door and you got to filter around and find some fucking keys. Like, we even had a keypad. And like, it's just, but no one is coming to my neighborhood to rob because they assume all the doors are locked and everyone else does lock their doors. So I am absolutely like freeloading on general consensuses, and I get away with the least amount of stress. And I'm a absolute freeloader on society in all those topics.
That's so funny. I've seen you say that, and I guess I started thinking about it. I'm like, our door is always locked, but that's because we used to have garage door openers and pull in the garage, so we never go through in and out the front door. So that's like, but would you leave your garage door open?
Yeah,
probably not.
Well, I just sold my house, but my garage.
Right.
I had two garage doors, and the one I was on a keypad, and the other one was just open the entire time I owned the house.
You always left your garage door open?
Well, we didn't have like a keypad, so.
Yeah.
Who the fuck is gonna break into my right garage door? It's just such a rare, like, I guess
I don't know, man. Do you have a Ring? Or did you have a Ring when you had a house? Like the security system, the little camera?
No.
I have a Ring. People snoop around. Neighbors, like, have recordings all the time of people going into their garage.
I love being on camera. Like, I don't know, I guess I wouldn't be the one on camera. I don't know. I don't buy it. Like, I just, and here's like my lesson of this, my takeaway. Yes, people should lock your doors. Sure. I have such and this is one of my greatest strengths. I have such a great ability, and I want everyone to feel the same way as I do. I have such a strength of not worrying about things that have a low percentage of happening that it relieves all of that stress, and it frees me up to just be me and just not. I consider it a superpower. I consider my ability not to worry my superpower. And what's the worst thing that can happen? Someone comes in and takes my toaster. Like, I don't got cash. I don't have any cash. Like, I haven't seen cash in months, and I hate cash. I don't know. You're gonna take the TV. Go for it, dude. It's on the fucking wall. I had the Best Buy guys tie it all. Go for it. Take the fucking TV. Like, you know how much work that would be? It's heavy. And then like, what are you gonna take? And now, I maybe if I like I work with my wife, like, she can lock the door. She's the same as me. And now the thing to say, now people say, well, wait till you get something happen to you, then you'll change your mind. Funny thing is I got my car stolen once. I got my car stolen, and I was like, fuck. I got my car stolen, whatever. It was my mom's car. I was like 22, running my business. This was the car I used to get around. I always left my keys in there. Always. Someone stole it once. And then I went out that night, party with my friends, and they're like, dude, your car got stolen today? What are you doing out partying? I was like, what am I going to do? Go look in every garage in the whole city of Philadelphia? And they're like, how are you not concerned? I'm like, I can't control that. 2 days later, the cops found my car on the side of like a street in like South Philly or something like that. And they brought it back. And
Really?
I got the car. Yeah. And then, like, that car was like a piece. I was like, the one problem I had with that was my mom like paid the insurance at the time. And I was like, well, let's get a new car. And I was like, oh shit, my mom's going to get the money. I'm not going to have a car. But like, I consider it a superpower not to worry about things that I have zero control over and have a small percentage of happening. If I spin a wheel all day, it's 99 and 1. That one, how often is it going to hit? And the chances of your house getting robbed are smaller than that. So I just don't worry about it ever. And it just frees up my soul. It frees up my soul to be free and concern about things about business, my ad spend, my employees showing up. And I feel so great about that. Yes, you should lock your doors, but like, no, you shouldn't. I don't know. My point is about that. The ability not to worry about things that have a small percentage of happening or you can't control. And that is one of my greatest strengths.
Yes, no, 100%. That's a huge thing. I mean, dude, 2020 is such a big year for that. Everybody worried about things they can't even control. And like being able to block that out, you have so much of an edge on everybody else that's worrying about, dude, everything you can't control. And you're just like in your lane. The highway's clear because everybody else is pulled over looking at,
dude, there's the show.
What's coming next?
There's the show Billions. And 9/11 happened. And the guy shorted airline stocks right away. And he got got a little bad rap for that, for being like not empathetic. But the point is, when a crisis happens, you be the one with your head on your shoulders. And there's so much opportunity there. That's why I think I'm a good investor. That's why I'm a good investor. I recently bought this company on the stock market called Afterpay. And the reason I bought it, I don't buy stocks a lot. I think I'm a good investor. Dude, I got like 65,000 profit in my Bitcoin. I own 2 of them. But I rarely buy stocks. I bought a bunch of stocks in March because the market was down. I just wait for opportunities. I bought 5 shares of Tesla and it's paid for my Tesla. But I bought this company recently out of the whim. It was called Afterpay. And the reason I bought it was because there's a thing called Sezzle. It's basically, I sell stuff online and people buy stuff, $30 sweatshirts, $60 sweatshirts. Our average order value is $45. I didn't think people would want to split that up into 4 payments, but you can put this thing on your website where click here and it splits it into 4 payments. And I put it on my site because people requested it. And almost 20% of my revenue was generated through Sezzle. And I was like, damn, this is a market that PayPal doesn't have, that no Amazon doesn't have. And on my site, I use this site called Sezzle. They weren't public, but this other company that was very similar was called Afterpay. So I was just like, dude, this is a thing that, and I bought Afterpay. I bought like 20 shares and I'm up like $4,000 profit on it. And I don't even think about it because you buy stocks and you just hold. But like, I have the ability to see opportunities when they're there. And that's why I'm a good investor. I don't want to buy stocks or buy investments. I don't like have money. I'm like, I need to buy stocks. I have money and I don't want to buy anything. I just wait for that opportunity. And if I'm not worried about stupid shit and my mind's clear, then I can see that stuff when it's happening. And that is one of my greatest strengths. That's why I'm a good business person, a good investor. And I want other people, I want your listeners to understand the power in that. The power. There's so much power. And people worry too much.
Yeah. And you know your history too. And if you look up things like non-objectively, stock market goes down because of a crisis, it's going to go back up.
Oh, dude.
Every time. It's happened every single time that it's ever happened. So you know that. Everybody else is freaking out.
I'm just like, thank God for this. Like, I bought Shopify, I bought Facebook, I bought Tesla in March. That shit's up like so much, dude. It's up so much. And I was just like, oh, everyone's freaking out. This is perfect. And I timed it like to the day that the people were freaking out the most.
That's perfect.
And that's just the way to do it, man. Don't freak out. What do you think about Bitcoin?
It's interesting because people are using it as an investment when it's supposed to just be a form of transaction. So like, it's weird. At first I was like, just thinking it was a new like digital currency. And then over time, it's like, I see people making money on it. And I just don't understand like, what's the potential ceiling of this thing? So I've never gotten into it because I don't know. I don't like to invest in things that I don't really understand too much. And I can't really wrap my head around Bitcoin. Like, I know it's probably here to stay, but like, are you thinking of it as an investment or more of like a way to maintain money as inflation occurs?
One thing I'll say about Bitcoin is it's kind of like what we were talking about as far as business. Like, there's not that much to say about it. Like, it's such an interesting topic, but there's a few people out there that make their, you know who Anthony Pompliano is? I don't know. He's a great Twitter follower. He's
Sounds
a great
familiar.
He's got a big Twitter following. He's like one of the big faces of Bitcoin. He's a great follow, but that's like his thing. Like, if you wanted to just talk about Bitcoin all day long, not much to say. I am always trying to like talk about it because I think it's so interesting. And basically, it's a volatile investment that could potentially be currency, but the government's never going to let it happen. And if you want to put money into it and know that it could go to zero, then do it. That's the whole conversation. The more like interesting part of the conversation is the US dollar and like the stimulus and printing as much money.
It's taking a hit.
And dude, I mean, I'm the guy that believes in the government, right? Like, Bitcoin has the ability to be a transactional. That already separates it from Apple stock or Tesla stock or any other type of investment. Gold. No one's going to go to the grocery store with a hunk of gold. So it gives it that little bit of the possibility that it could be the transactional thing. That's potential. That's not really that big of a deal. And then it's just about how much do people agree with it. And I feel like with less news, more people are talking about the future and AI and Bitcoin. And since Trump's gone, that's just gone way up because you just look at the situation. The U.S. is just fucking printing money like nuts. And honestly, I think everything could be okay with the U.S. dollar. A lot of people say it's inevitable the U.S. dollar is going to crash. They're printing too much. The debt's too much. The one factor that people leave out of that is the exact same thing that they believe in Bitcoin, which is the trust. Like, people need the U.S. dollar. The consumer confidence is the most important metric in the stock market, I think, because if people stop spending, then they're not buying a shirt. If they're not buying a shirt, then the person that sells the shirt is going to fire an employee. And that person is not going to buy something because they lost their job. Like, you know, there's supply, demand, the employment rate, all these stuff. But like consumer confidence can't be like put on a scale. But I think that unexplained thing, consumer confidence, could be the thing that keeps the U.S. dollar going forever. I believe in the U.S. dollar. I actually do. That being said, a lot of people don't. And they have very good reasons for it not to. And Bitcoin is the best thing out there. Now, is the U.S. going to allow that to happen? A lot of people say there might be a war. There might be like a physical war over people and governments. But like, I don't know, man. Should the government?
I don't know.
Yeah, and this is where the conversation kind of goes off. And like, this is why it's not the best thing to talk about. But I do believe in Bitcoin. And one of the main reasons I believe in it is because I believe in my ability to hear other people. And I bought it once. I made $22,000 profit, bought it in 2015, sold it in 2017 because I was broke, made $22,000. And then started buying again around 2019, and I'm up 58,000 profit. I do have a little extra money to spend, but like the main thing is that I see people. I'm not investing in the asset. I'm investing in all the people I see talking about it, the smart people.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's all about perception, really. And
yeah,
I mean,
100%.
which brings up everybody's big on Dogecoin now. So it's like, dude, that's what drives me nuts.
Nobody's big on Dogecoin.
The amount.
Elon Musk is trolling motherfuckers.
Good. Okay. All right. I like hearing that. I mean, I just don't get it because there's so many different ones out there. It's just like.
The way I look at it and the way that I've seen it and heard it and in the way that I'm looking at the world, hearing people and the way that I'm breaking it down is that there's only one, and it's Bitcoin. Which one did Tesla buy?
Yeah, I know.
Which one is American Express investing in? Like, Bitcoin's the one. And everyone else is just a little fuckery.
Yeah.
And that's Elon Musk, man. Elon Musk. He was on Joe Rogan yesterday. I fucking stayed up all night and then woke up super early. I always wake up early, but I needed to listen to all 3 hours and 20 minutes of that. And they didn't fucking talk about Bitcoin.
Really?
No, they didn't talk about it once. I was astonished.
I haven't heard it yet.
I was actually mad. It's really hard to listen to that. 3 hours and 20 minutes. But Elon Musk is the fucking man. And he's been tweeting about Dogecoin, whatever the fuck it is. But dude, my opinion is he's just trolling, joking around, fucking around. He also tweets about all kinds of stupid shit. This dumb music that he likes, and he does like a meme for it. I look at Twitter as like a way to just like blurt. Like, and that's how I treat it. I think Elon Musk treats it the same way. And you got to look at the things he's saying. He literally tweeted a picture of him holding up the Dogecoin on like a Simba, like the Lion King. And then he like tweeted like 3 other people on top of it or something, like Snoop Dogg. And like, he's just fucking around, man.
He's so funny. The richest man in the world is a Twitter troll.
How
cool is that?
That's pretty cool. And the president and the former president.
Yes.
Like, that's interesting. The richest man in the world and the former president were Twitter trolls. What's the takeaway from that? I don't know.
I would say don't take yourself too seriously. Like, if the most powerful people in the world can play around like that, then why can't you? Why like think of yourself as so high and mighty when you do something good? I mean, I don't know.
Hey man, I agree.
It's pretty funny. So what'd they talk about on there? Anything interesting?
All right, so they started off talking about space. And Elon Musk said something that I completely agree with. He said, there's absolutely zero evidence of aliens. And everyone always talks about aliens. And I feel like the common thing people say is, you're ignorant if you don't believe that there's species out there. And I've said that before. And I've adapted and thought about it. There's fucking no evidence, man. Like, I think we're the aliens. I think we are going to be the people that take over multiple planets. I think human beings are going to be the species that takes over the galaxy. And I have no reason not to believe that.
The only way we would be aliens, though, is if there was other life out there that were aliens too, though, right?
100% true. So I guess if there is another developing species out there, we're way ahead of them.
You think? Okay.
I do. That's what I think. And obviously, the thing about this conversation is me, some idiot, and Elon Musk. We're just speculating. But the facts are that there is no evidence. So what the fuck are we? This is kind of relates to the not worrying about things that don't exist.
Yes.
Like, I'm supposed to fucking wildly speculate about something with zero evidence? Like, no, sorry, I'm not going to do that. If there's a little tiny shred of evidence, then we can maybe speculate about that. Zero.
Well,
Zero.
So that Israeli government official came out and said that there's a secret base on Mars. Do you think he's trolling?
Wait, who said that?
Some Israeli former government official for them.
Yeah.
He said that there's a secret base on Mars and that the aliens don't think we're ready to communicate with them yet. How funny is that?
I feel like I would have heard about that before if it was more credible.
Yeah.
And then the other thing was that the U.S. government apparently found an unidentified object.
Did the Navy saw that footage?
I don't know.
Did you watch it?
No. I'm not talking about footage. Apparently, the U.S. government, dude, these stories would be bigger if they were realer. You know what I mean? But apparently, the U.S. government found an unidentified like piece of metal or something like that. That just means they couldn't identify it. Doesn't mean it's from aliens.
Yeah.
Like that story that you just said about the Israeli official with a base on Mars. My first reaction is it's fucking nonsense. Now, just like I believe in Bitcoin, I trust my ability to read the room. And I consider my room the world. So I'm not there. I'm not on Mars. I'm not in Israel. I'm not in the Israel government. I'm not in this guy's house. I just have to go by the reaction from the reaction from the reaction. That's all the information I have. I haven't even heard about that.
Yeah.
So like, it can't be that credible. It can't be that credible, you know? And just Elon Musk said yesterday that he sees no credibility of aliens. So that was one thing he talked about. He's also talking about Teslas and shit. And I have one. I fucking love my Tesla. And anyone who drives a car is just wasting their fucking energy. It's so silly.
Something I wondered is, what do you do with your time then, since you can't drive? Like, do you like benefit from it in any other way?
Yeah, email, tweet, post on Instagram, productive things on your phone. You could also spend the time with non-productive things on your phone. It's not ready to like, you still have to be awake at the wheel.
Because aren't you supposed to like keep a hand on it?
You're supposed to.
Yeah.
But I bought this little piece that you put on, and it's a weight. And everyone has one. I think everyone has one. If you have a Tesla and you really enjoy the driverless element of the Tesla, cool. The environment, I want to have a great environment. I believe in electric vehicles. I didn't buy it for electric. That was more of a hassle. The reason I bought it was for the driverless shit. That's it. And you still have to pay attention. But I feel like I lost my train of mind. What was I saying about?
Well, I was just asking like what you do with your time then, since you don't have to drive.
You still have to like pay attention, but
Yeah.
it will literally drive like for you. And oh yeah, the piece.
Yeah, the piece.
The piece is key. If you have a Tesla and you are and you're obsessed with driverless and you don't have the piece, you're gonna go fucking crazy. That's what happened to me. I was so excited about the driverless features, but I had to keep my hand on the wheel. And the wheel, they just want to feel a little weight. So like, you kind of got to keep your hand on the wheel and like jiggle it. But if you jiggle it too hard, it'll take it out of autopilot. So it's like, okay, I got my hands on the wheel and I'm in driverless mode and I'm good. Like, I'm in the point where I'm on like a road where I don't have to touch the wheel for a while. But I got to keep my hands on the wheel. Okay, I respect the rules. Here's my beef. Like, you keep your hands on the wheel and you just want to show the wheel that you have a little weight on there. Okay, I respect that rule. But then you like, it doesn't feel your hand. It should be a sensor, not a weight. But then it doesn't. So then you're like, all right, fuck, it's not feeling the weight. So then you got to jiggle the wheel a little bit. And like I just
smack it.
No, you can't smack it. You got to move it to let you know that there's weight on there. But then if you put too much weight, it takes it out of autopilot. Because if you are in autopilot and you grab the wheel, it's going to take you out of autopilot, which is the right thing. So it's terribly done. You need the weight. Or else there's no point of getting the car. If you're going to buy the car and not the weight, then just don't buy it.
That sounds terrible. I think Tesla stock's going to really crash after people hear this.
Well, I think Elon Musk knows about the weight. And there's the other thing is like, now you can watch YouTube and Hulu and play games on there. You're not allowed to play them if you're driving. But
so when would you ever watch it?
He said, well, the answer to that is logically when you're charging on the road trip. But this is what he said on the podcast. He said this on the podcast yesterday. He said, I'm a passenger. If you hit I'm a passenger.
Okay.
So you said to hit I'm a passenger. He said that on the Joe Rogan podcast. He said, well, just hit I'm a passenger. And like you can do that stuff. There's a really fun game if you're charging. There's like a Mario Kart game where you can use the wheel and the wheel drives you. So it's like playing Mario Kart with a wheel. And like if you do this, your driver drives. You can't do that when you're driving. But dude, it's amazing. And I talked to a lot of people who have one. And Joe Rogan said this too. They're like, I don't use autopilot that much. I'm like, dude, what are you?
That's the whole reason I'd want it.
Dude, I'm telling you, when I bought it, it wouldn't stop at red lights because it wasn't ready yet. But you know how your phone gets an update, like an iOS update? They send updates to the car. So the one day the car got an update and the next day it stopped at red lights. And the one thing it can't do is take hard left or right turns. You still have to do that manually. So on a highway or like a trip, it's amazing, dude. You put in your destination, it'll get off on exits, it'll go around ramps. It'll do all that for you. It knows if there's a car in front of you, it switches lanes for you. It's incredible, but you have to take left and right hand turns still. And they say that's going to be coming out soon, but.
So does it give you a heads up? Like, I'm not going to be able to make this turn, grab the wheel. Like, how do you know that you have to make the turn?
Well, that's why you kind of have to be aware. It would just stop because it would sense the cars in the freeway. Say you're like coming up on a freeway. It would sense the other cars, and it would every time when it wouldn't stop at red lights, it would stop at a red light if there was another car in front of you stopped at the red light because it senses other cars around you. If there's a guy driving by on a bike, it shows on the screen a little guy driving by on a bike. If there's like a trash can to your left, it shows a little trash can. If there's someone walking, it shows someone walking. Like it knows everything around you. So if you were in autopilot and you were sleeping and you went up to a freeway and you had to take a hard right, the car would just stop. And then, you might piss off the people behind you and all that. That's why you can't sleep yet, or just turn the seat the other way, because left and right turns are very common. But
man, okay,
it's awesome.
Okay,
it's awesome, dude. It's fucking awesome.
Good to know. I'll probably snag one day. Man, what else do we have to talk about here? Do you have anything else?
I mean, I'm down to talk about more stuff. I mean, it's your show.
No, it's been good. It's been good, man. Well, I guess one more thing on the Tesla.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny from the show. I saw that the new truck is going to be 3% smaller. That is so funny. Who cares?
2% smaller than what?
Than what it was before, like the original prototype.
The Cybertruck?
Yes, he came out and said it's going to be 3% smaller.
They haven't even made one Cybertruck yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the prototype. That's what he said.
Cool. Dude,
3% smaller.
One thing about Elon Musk is like, so you guys know what they said in the podcast. He was talking about space, and he said he didn't believe in aliens. They talked a lot about cars. They talked a little bit about the environment, and he said, as long as we aren't complacent, the environment will be fine. And then they talked about him potentially going into airplanes. But one thing I learned about listening to him on there and seeing his tweets is like, Elon Musk, he's a great salesman. He's a great persuader. And like, he is always behind on his production of his cars. But he just like says stuff like that to like pump it up and keep people excited, keep the stock up. He's very good at saying shit like that. Like, hey, I know the Cybertruck was supposed to come out, but it hasn't came out, and it won't for like 5 years, and we don't even have the factory built yet. But like, it's gonna have a 3% smaller. It's gonna have a gun on the. It's gonna have a gun on the back. He's always good. One thing he said on the podcast was the Roadster. It's one of the models, and it's supposed to come out. Joe Rogan's like, when's it gonna come out? He's like, it's not ready yet. But he's like, it's possible we might be able to make it hover. And I was like, yeah. He's like, Joe Rogan's like, how high? He's like, well, it won't be able to go 6 feet above the ground. So it'll be, and I was like, fuck, all right. Like, I want to buy a hover car. So like, I'm in. I'll wait 8 years or whatever.
That's insane. I don't understand how that's even possible, but
dude,
I'll try it out.
Who's your favorite people to like listen to? Like, who's your motivators?
Motivators.
Like, we talked about Gary Vee a little bit.
Interestingly enough, lately it's been people that are a little more relatable that I can follow and like see that are really like just a couple of years ahead of me.
You got any names?
Like I had a guy, he was actually on the pod a few episodes ago, Zach Kravitz. He's like he's a creative guy. He's like one of the behind the scenes. He's worked with like G-Eazy and a lot of big name people on the creative front. And he's doing a lot more coaching and like original content and stuff now. But it's interesting watching him because he's like a few years ahead of me, but I can see a path I could go that
would be
comparable to his.
What do you think about coaching? Because like early in this podcast, the beginning, we were talking about the people we get on, a lot of them monetize audiences by coaching courses, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a way to monetize things. What do you think about one, taking the courses, two, potentially doing it? What's your overall take on it?
I think there can be value to it, but I don't know. I feel like you have to have a really good track record to be able to do it. It annoys me a little bit when people come out with a course before they have a proven track record.
Have you
And
ever
that's what bugs me.
done any courses?
So I bought like Billy Gina's marketing. He's great for YouTube and video advertising. I didn't buy a course. I bought I guess it had courses built in. It was essentially like a big bundle, and it was definitely worth the money. I spent $100. I mean, his ad targeting insight is really, really good. So I've more than made up for that money. So in that case, it was definitely worth it. But I have to really trust a person. I think it's kind of crazy when somebody buys a course from somebody that they don't know really well. But
yeah,
I don't know.
I've never bought any courses.
I would only use it more for very practical application.
A lot of the information is potentially available for free. But there's clearly a market for it.
Yeah.
Actually, I take it back. I bought a course. I bought a public speaking course because I think I have a terrible voice, and I think as a podcaster and a speaker, I'm bad at talking. And I bought a course. It was $1,500, and I did the initial Zoom. And she said one of the biggest problems is people sign up and they don't follow through. And I was like, all right. That was 8 months ago. I didn't follow up. I just the money fucking down the drain. I can still do it. I think I can still but I feel like too many people try to coach or something. I don't know if they're making money, good for them. But
I know it's I don't know. I've had people ask me is coaching in your future? A few years down the road, doing a coach? I'm like, I don't know, man. I mean, I'm more interested in growing people's businesses and getting hands-on with it than just consulting and telling people what to do. I'd rather be more hands-on with it and really grow it myself, That's more appealing to me.
I'd rather get fucking YouTube ad revenue from having a big channel for being Joe Rogan. I keep bringing him up. I don't mean to keep bringing him up. This guy had my podcast today, makes a bunch of money. 17 makes a bunch of money from the ad revenue. I don't even know what that thing looks like.
Yeah,
But I just don't need to monetize because I have a good business. But obviously, I'm spending time and energy and effort and money. But I got to be better, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right, last thing, I think, to bring it full circle. I've kind of had an idea throughout this, and I'm using this last second to bring it back up. So for this podcast idea in your building, you talk about how you don't really like overlapping the United Monograms audience and your podcast audience. But what if you made an original podcast that was for that audience? You think that would be something that could really
we kind of have that. We kind of have that every Wednesday, 12:30, United Monograms, Instagram and Facebook. We have live at lunch, and we do a show every single Wednesday for about a year and a half now. And we get 300 people, 150 on Instagram, 150 on Facebook. That's essentially our podcast. Mm-hmm. And even if we did use the facilities to do a United Monograms podcast, it would still be targeted at that audience. And that could help sell more Monogram products, which would be the goal of it. That doesn't relate to what I'm doing still.
Mm. Okay. Well, I'm not thinking as much directly tied to the business in that way, but more of for that demographic. You know what I mean? So there's
I'm a bro.
Overlap.
I'm a bro. I'm supposed to. I could do the one thing that might work there might be with me and Shelby and be like a his and hers type podcast.
Well, not even for you. You're talking the Barstool approach. Like, bring people in that would want to run their own thing for that demo, you know?
Well,
sponsored by United Monograms.
Sure. I mean, we wouldn't charge ourselves anything to sponsor these podcasts. But we have an amazing audience for United Monograms. Remember I talked to you about the Diamond Club the last podcast?
Yeah.
That shit is hot. Like, we had to, like, I'm not actually even in it. Like, Shelby does it. We had to kick this girl out the other day. Like, there were some fiery people in there we gave out these mystery gifts. Like, it's so great how engaged United Monograms audience is. It is pulsing energy, that audience. So thankful for that. We got that, Mark. We got it. We don't need to do a podcast for that. Like, this other media company has got to be a different market. It's got to, and okay, if each individual podcast that we had their own market, yeah, we can maybe bring in some people that are interested in it. But like, the reason that we have cultivated that market is to sell them monogram clothing. The reason that we want to cultivate other audiences would not be for the same reason.
Got it. Okay.
I'm not opposed to selling anyone monogram clothing. Of course. But like, it's beating a dead horse to do a monogram podcast in a way.
Okay.
I'd rather want to learn about the business model of ad revenue. That's a new world that I want to learn about, and I want to master and take over and be able to. That'd be a separate revenue stream than the clothing.
Okay.
One would be a clothing revenue stream, and one would be an ad revenue stream, and that would be diversifying my revenue streams between one is physical items, one is ears, and I want to be able to diversify those revenue streams. So that's why I'm not so interested in the crossover. You know, if there's some crossover, cool. I want to sell ears and I want to sell clothing to both the people. Yeah, I want them to buy all my shit. But I want to build a separate business model for the sake of it, to diversify, to learn how to do that, and to do it, to make the money of doing it. So, you know, monograms.
Interesting. Okay.
We're selling them clothing. This other thing that I have zero success in, but I'm kind of leaning towards a little bit, would be that business model, ad revenue, which I've had zero success in, and I want to learn about that. I want to master all markets, but if I can do apparel and I can do ad revenue, then one can fail, one can succeed, and they won't be dependent upon each other. And if there's some room for crossover in there, cool. But that's not, the crossover is not that relevant.
Okay, got it.
In my mind. It's a separate thing.
Think about that one. It's interesting. Cool. All right, man. Any last words? What you got?
Read Think and Grow Rich. And that's it. I fucking think everyone. Oh, I've never seen that cover.
Yeah, it's like some new cover edition.
You got a little card in there. Wait,
yeah, I stick baseball cards.
Show it to me this way.
This way?
No, the other way, like this. No, like thickness. No. Let me see how many pages you are in.
Dude, I'm only on page 40. I'm telling you, I read like 2 pages a day because then I get
finish the book. All right, but my last message is fucking Braddog, Brady Hester. This man's the talent. This man is an amazing dude. I'm so honored to be on his podcast 3 times. I consider him a friend. I love that we can just chill and talk, and everyone should fucking follow his shit. If you're in Kansas City, you should use him, and you should get this man to be able to quit his job, make the big bucks in the advertising world, the podcasting world, the content world. He's talented. He's motivated, and I'm his biggest fan. Follow Brady.
Yeah, you're the man. And my wish for everybody is to follow Sean.
Don't do that.
The Sean Lowery Show.
Nah, don't follow
All
my
right,
podcast.
don't
It
follow him.
sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. All right.
Follow Brad Dogs. No. I always am bad at accepting niceness. I can't wait. I can't wait to come on this podcast for a fourth time.
It's gonna happen, and I'm also gonna fly out one of these days. I got to check out that new office whenever it's done, and check out that new podcast studio. It's gonna happen.
That next time you're on my podcast is when that happens.
It's when it's in person.
Yeah, in person.
Let's do it.
Sean Lowery Show, episode 100 something. You on my podcast in person, baby.
Let's go. All right.
Bro.
Sean Lowery, thank you, sir. Cheers.